I also like being able to do... So, one of my favorite leagues of all time in Path of Exile, and there's going to be a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, why? Was my favorite leagues would be, one would be, oh, not Invasion, I'm trying to blank, the one where you had to plant everything, Harvest. Harvest is one of my favorite, not because of the league mechanic, because the league mechanic promised Factorio, and it gave us something that didn't make any group particularly happy one way or the other. But the fact that I could just spin up a new build like nothing, and just take builds that have no business existing because they're just such obscure nonsense. And it was fun. I was taking builds that would never be viable because you would never get the gear for it, and just making them and having a blast. Like, I made a build that we, castle channeling, raised zombies with Infernal Legion and, minion instability, and just gave them this absolutely absurd amount of life, and then they would heal me when they died. And it was just the absolute ludicrous thing. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. The Harvest that was in Harvest League did have problems that was too easy to make items, and I actually agree to that. That said, in the moment, knowing it was only something that's going to be around for a while, it just let me try builds that I would love to have tried, but in a normal league, I couldn't. Because you'd need just hundreds of Exalt to invest in a build that's not even good. But mechanic-wise, yeah, the Harvest mechanic was kind of garbage. Mechanic-wise that I did like, and this is another one that a whole bunch of people are going to be like, oh god, why, is Synthesis. I loved Synthesis League. I thought that was an absolutely amazing league. It had problems. Like, I will immediately point out it had lots of problems. But I liked the piecing it all together, and I would say Synthesis League is one of the leagues you hear the most hate about. Because for people who just want kill monster fast, you know, Synthesis had a lot of overhead. But just like putting together the pieces to like get, you know, target farm your rewards and all that kind of stuff was just a lot of fun to me. And it was like a mini map. Nice. Yeah, I like the emergency frequency. I know a lot of people don't care about it as much, but because I usually play with multiple helicopters, I mean, it's just how you survive. Alright, I want to deal with all this rain. We're going to do some tailoring. Once we run out of that stuff, we're going to choke down a sleeping tablet and go back to bed. The good news is radios are almost everywhere in the game, so that's usually not that bad to find. How are we doing? I have read the book, right? Double checking. Yep, we're good to go. This also works because I want to finish my dinner. So I can eat while this starts. Now, I will say, the actual synthesis mechanic, where you know, mash items together to make stuff, well, it had this really cool idea for, like, min-maxy stuff. It was not a good reward. Like, they needed something more accessible. Like, that could still be a thing for the Reach. But, yeah. Yeah, like, actually getting what you needed to make an item worth making was such a pain. I also liked Blight League a lot, and I know a lot of people were very not happy about Blight League being tower defense. Which, granted, in practice, like, right, you could tower defense, or you could just have an obnoxious amount of damage. But I kind of liked that because for people who don't have as much playtime to gear themselves to the moon to get the damage they need to be able to just delete stuff in Blight, you could actually put certain combinations of towers together, and they wouldn't win it for you. Not right away, at least. You had to carry them a little bit. But they would carry you pretty far. So you only had to like worry about certain bosses and that was about the only things that were a real problem in Blight League once you figured out how to use the towers well. And there were a number of combinations you could abuse. Now that said, I did 40-40 on Blight League, and I did not want to do a blighted map for like 3 leagues after that because it was something like 150 blighted maps or something that league, and it was just too many. Like, I did it, but even doing a rotation of them with people, it took forever. Because it was something like 10-15 minutes per blighted map to do it. Because you had, like, I think the timer was 5 minutes, but there was a setup time, and then you'd do that, and then you'd grab, a little bit of loot. But, you're going fast in rotation, so it's just, you grab the things you care about and just get out real quick. I liked Metamorphosis, even though that was a very rippy league. I liked the Syndicate League. I can't remember what it was. Was it called Syndicate? With the conspiracy board. I liked that league, even though that's the league I did my hardcore level. Was it one? I got like the achievement for hardcore, and I pushed the character like it's the only hardcore I have still alive. Yeah, so I chose Syndicate League to do my hardcore push to get the achievement and to get to like level 100 in hardcore. That was not the correct league to make that decision. But I did it. I had to, quote-unquote lock them in the basement. Because there's a few of them who would show up and just one-shot you. Until you're decked out in gear, but hardcore, decking out in gear is tricky there. Can't remember if it was Tora or Aisling or whether you'd hear that voice line and you just ran. Oh yeah. No, I played a lot. I'm just talking about during Syndicate League, it was terrifying. But yeah, Syndicate now is not a problem. Like, trying to remember which one. There's one of them that has a couple of area effects that can be pretty rippy, but otherwise, the others are all fine. Oh, that's neat. I didn't even know that was a thing that once you got to 7 first aid. I like It That Fled. I've had a number of my characters have been plays on the name It That Fled. Like It That Burns. It That Bleeds. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, my whole thing is like, the only way to level first aid is to literally grind it. The joke was when I was doing multiplayer, and I was actually like training my first aid up to be like the group's medic. It basically meant every time my feet were healed up, I went and walked on glass, sutured my feet closed again, and then bandaged them up. Waited till I was healed, then walked on glass, then sutured my feet up. I know there's mods that do it, but they do in the vanilla game need other ways you can train first aid. Other than, self-mutilation. Like some, not like a training dummy or something, but some type of like mannequin thing or whatever you can train on that uses materials. So the weather outside sucks. That's just been our run tonight. Hey, what if the weather was awful all the time? And then zombies. Yeah, and multiplayer you can have, like, I found for people who, I actually did just a minute ago, but I will eat more. Wife redeeming the points, making sure I eat. That's actually part of the reason I stopped to tailor, was I would start tailoring, I could eat a bite or two of food while we're taking off these bandages, or patches. She's being silly. I need to gift her a sub so she can use, like, the channel emote for Nom. So, yep, figured she should be subbed to my channel. Because now she can use the RUALST Nom. She's sitting in the room with me here, thanking me through chat. Yeah, I need to move them. I didn't realize that was going to be an issue. Unfortunately, that's got to be something I got to change in Streamlabs. Yeah, and that's going to take a bit because I have many versions of it. There she is, spamming emotes. Yeah, so my apologies about that, where the subtitles are covering up the notifications. I'll get that sorted. No, I appreciate it because, you know, I don't exactly watch my own channel tremendously while streaming. Like, I have it on the air computer, but I don't watch it carefully. I just have OBS up. I mostly leave it up on the air computer for if I have to step in and do moderation stuff. It's just easier to use the moderation window. And then on top of that, when someone sits there and goes, oh, like, is something wrong with stream? I can look over a stream and be like, nope, that's a you problem. I'm glad I got her the emotes. Hey, Kangor. We are still surviving. We are currently dealing with an awful storm, so we're just tailoring while I eat some food. And even though she's right here, and I'm going to tell her this in a minute, you know, good night, MT2. You sleep well. Hey, tailoring 5. I think we're going to have to fish again because we ate all of our fish and we're only neutral on weight. Yeah, I have Auto Mechanic and people told me about Auto Tailor. I think I even installed it, but then I forgot to enable it. Because, yeah, this is annoying. You can almost... Oh, yeah. I've leveled tailoring to 10 before. But yeah, so tailoring the primary only has, like, 2 main uses. The first use is if your pieces of clothing get a hole in it. When you get to tailoring 8, you can just fix it so it doesn't have a hole in it, and getting the full defensive value back. The other thing you can do is, as you level up tailoring, you can put resistance on items. Like, you notice this normally has no resistance on any of the slots. At level 10, if I put leather strips on here, I will get 10% bite resist, 20% scratch resist, and 10% bullet resist on every single section. And since you can wear multiple layers of clothes, you can get your protection over here. So you have scratch 100% on all, but I believe your shins and your hands, and I think your neck. And then bite resist, you'll have, I think it's like 6 or 7 or 8 something places you'll have 100%. And then the others will be like 70-ish%, give or take, like 5-10%. Which means if I get hit, and it would be a scratch, unless it's my hands or my neck or my shins, it'll hurt my garment, I won't even take the damage. And in those other places, there's like a 70-something, 80% chance I just won't take the damage, and my garment will get damaged. I can just repair it and repatch it. And if it would be a bite, which means certain death, I have a 70% chance or higher on almost every single section of my body except my hands and my shins and my neck to just not take the hit. So the downside is it's tedious to level, but it is extremely powerful. And I'm mostly just grinding it right now because the weather is awful, so I don't want to be outside. Because this is the kind of weather you get yourself killed in because you can't see or hear the zombies and stuff are moving around. So I'm just laying low for the day. And I don't believe we found the expert tailoring book, so I mean... Laying low means stabbing. Plus, the more points you have in tailoring, the more thread you'll get back from taking stuff, apart. Which makes it easier to then do more tailoring. Alright, we are fresh out of tailoring supplies, so we're done tailoring. They're not less active. They kind of move around more chaotically because the storm makes sound. The concern more being out during the storm is one, if you get super duper wet and cold, then you have the chance of catching a cold, and the cold in this game basically causes you to cough and sneeze constantly, which is kind of the equivalent of yelling all the time. Just like every couple of seconds, yelling. So that can get you killed very easily. I underestimated the salad I had made. This is another thing I wish was in the base game, is I could right-click this, instead of just add random vegetable. Like, I could tell it to prioritize literally anything that is not in there. Because it is advantageous to put a variety of things in your salads. Yeah. We got to full-on stuffed by eating that salad. Give me fish. Not socks, give me fish. Yep, so you see my temperature's going down as we're standing out here. I do have risk of catching a cold. Of course, we follow up the rain with this storm. Yeah, no, I should put a deck over this. Come on, give me fish. Meta event. Don't love to see it. Come on, follow it up at the end with just one giant pike. Come on, I want to gain a level in this. Probably like one or two, probably one more thing in here and then we'll be done. Yep, you can fish with a spear. It does take a penalty, so it's like fishing like slightly lower abundance. But it works. Alright, we're all done fishing, so they can have this, so we can put the spear back in the ground. So it wasn't quite enough for us to level, which is fine. Now I need to go through the big pile of fish I've pulled up. And slice them all. I have a lighter, cool, so we can start a fire. Our lights are broken. Don't like that. And I'm just feeding stuff into the fire while we're sitting here because why not? Alright, it looks like a lot of our light bulbs need to be replaced. So, you're probably going, but wait, you caught so many fish, you got so many fillets, like, isn't this just going to be a waste of food? No, we're going to directly just try and shovel the food into our mouth as fast as possible to get our calorie bar up, so that way we start gaining weight. Because right now we are in the healthy range, but we're about halfway through it, and I really don't want to be on the low end of the healthy range. I'd rather be higher up. Because a lot of stuff we're going to have to eat during the winter is not going to be particularly high calorie. So it's better for us to be in the high end than the low end. So we will eat until it will no longer allow us to do so. My favorite one's when you go fishing and it's like everything's fine. It's like suddenly you're at extremely overburdened. You're like, what'd you do? It's like, oh, I caught 100 centimeter pike. Okay.